We're the Whiskey Sippers, and today we're here at Lake Erie Distillery with Patrick.
With me, special guest.
I do. I love the smell.
Okay, so what you're smelling is we've got a couple of molasses barrels fermenting, getting ready for our rum. Yep.
Yeah, I'm a big rum fan, so I'm very interested to see your take on it when we eventually get to that.
I will tell you, we are one of 6 distillers that makes Jamaican rum.
Oh.
Okay, not a Bacardi, not a Captain Morgan. It is very much a Jamaican rum.
So you're not using the spices in it? All right, so we're here today with Fred, who is the owner and master distiller here at Lake Erie Distillery.
Right.
Thank you for having us in today.
My pleasure. Thank you.
Thank you. So why don't you tell us a little bit about your history and how you got started?
Okay, well, the quick history is about 45 plus years ago, I started North American EDM. And we do international industrial sales of EDM consumables for machines. And after about 40 years, I'm an outside sales guy, always been outside guy. It got to be where it was on cruise control, right? I'm coming from the house to the office to the house, not fitting me at all. So I put my son in charge, said, listen, you run this thing for about 3 weeks. I'm going to go find out what we need to do. Maybe we need a new product, but I got to do something to get the excitement back. So at that time, my wife wanted to go to Florida. We decided to drive. Now, the big key here is my wife doesn't drink. Okay. So partway through Ohio, we decided to do a distillery tour. Now, my wife is fascinated by the process, but doesn't care for the alcohol at all. I, on the other hand, am fascinated by both. So we decided we're only going to go to distilleries that have 6 or less employees. I had no intentions of starting a distillery, but it just fascinates me.
Yeah.
So we did Kentucky, Tennessee, Virginia, West Virginia, North Carolina, South Carolina, Georgia, and Florida.
Wow.
Took us 2 weeks to get to Florida.
That's a lot of stops.
I bet.
I had a DD for 2 weeks. It's amazing.
That's the way to travel.
Yeah, that's the way to travel. So we get down there, we do our thing, we come back up here, and I go to a distillery and I got a bourbon. And the girl on the other side of the counter said, what do you want to mix with it? Thought that was kind of a peculiar question. But, yeah, throw a cube in. Well, a guy came in, it was his first time there, he ordered a bourbon too. And he spent probably the next 30 minutes belly aching about how nobody in Ohio can make a bourbon. You got to go to Kentucky. I'm sure you guys have heard that whole story.
Yep, similar process.
Yeah, so I'm driving back home, and this is where stupidity and ego collide. And I thought, I could do this. And that's kind of how we got started.
Okay.
So I had my first chemistry set at 7. I had my first biology set at 9. I read encyclopedias for fun. Oh, okay. So engineering is my background, manufacturing and process engineering. This is my giant chemistry set.
There you go.
I like you got a good chemistry set.
Yeah, we have a
very nice.
Yeah, we have a decent little chemistry set.
Chemistry set. Yeah.
But that's kind of how we got started. So 2016, we decided to do bourbon. So we started out there. Most guys start out with vodka. We started out with bourbon. So we sold our first bottle in November of 2021. We opened up the little bottle shop in April of 22, and we opened up the lounge in June of 23. Wow. So we've been around for a while, but we haven't been around for a while.
Approaching your 10 years. Yeah.
Yeah, it's
on paper. Yeah, on
paper.
Yeah,
on paper. Yeah, which is why our bourbon is about 7 year in a barrel.
So did you go anywhere and speak with anybody when you were learning the distillation process or how the equipment works, or did you just do it all you're reading on your own or Google?
A lot of this, with the background I had was pretty much common sense. There's a guy down in the hollers of Kentucky, Frank, and he's on our Facebook page, that helped me out a lot in the beginning. Okay. So I would give him samples, and he would say, you got too much heads, you got some tails in it, your separations aren't quite right. So at the very beginning, he was a great assistant. But most of it is trial and error. I mean, we've made some really, really good stuff that's sitting on the shelves out there. At the same time, we've made some really, really bad stuff.
That's the way it goes, right?
That's
you
exactly.
You minimize the lower end.
Yeah, right.
You really do.
Capitalize on the high end.
That's it. That's it exactly.
So when you just mentioned your heads and tails, are you separating those manually, or do you have your machine set to at certain points?
Yes and no. It's a combination of both.
Okay.
So all of the equipment we have has computers attached to it. Okay, so it gives me a reading of my tank temperature. It gives me a reading of my vapor speed. It gives me a reading of my ABV at the top. I get all those readings. Now, we're able to, because we've run so much, pretty much know when that transition occurs, at what temperature it occurs. And it's different at every single still I have in here.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you've got four stills, it looks like.
4, along with a 1,280 gallon mash tun and 2 632 gallon fermenters.
Okay, so these are your larger
Yeah, those
stills?
are 150 gallons.
150. Okay.
Yeah, so that one is our vodka still,
Okay.
which is why it's got all the equipment on the side of it. Our whiskey still, and then this is our whiskey rum still.
Okay, and I'm guessing that's like an experimental, the small one back there.
That's what we play with when we're going to try something new.
Yeah.
You know, it's one of those you start out with a couple of gallons and it works, and then you go to 20 gallons, and
Yeah.
sometimes when you go to 20, it doesn't work anymore.
Yeah.
You know, I equate it to if you're going to make spaghetti sauce at home for your family, you get this really great spaghetti sauce. Now make 55 gallons of it.
Yeah.
Right, trying to get that scale up.
Those portions aren't always the same.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I mean, as we know with Doc Brown in Back to the Future, that little scale model was off by a foot.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
So how often do you run, like a week? How many cycles?
We run
do you
every day.
Oh, you run every day?
Yeah, we
Okay.
run every day, except for the weekend. That's when we do our maintenance on the equipment. So we'll start out first thing Monday morning, running the stills and mashing. So we run, right now, we're doing our bourbon runs. So we're distilling in this one, we're mashing in this one.
Okay. So how many gallons a week end product do you end up with?
We do 150 gallons a day over here
Okay.
of mash.
So times
And we
7,
can
that's a
run,
lot of gallons.
150 gallons in mash ends up being about 80 gallons by the time you're done.
Close to half.
Okay, so
Yeah.
you get about 80 gallons off the
85,
worm?
you know, some
85?
of it goes into the grain. And you just can't get it back out.
Right. And then some's going to be like the water and stuff, the vape. So not everything.
Exactly. In fact, we just did a run here, and this is what we end up with. We still do it old school. Air conditioner, brand new belt. We still do it old school. We still separate it out in jars.
Okay.
Okay. The reason I do that is the system is pretty good at telling me where the transitions are, but it's pretty good.
But it's not good enough.
It's not good enough
to
for
really
what I
get
make.
to your hearts from your
Yeah.
heads and your tails.
Yeah, and the problem that we have is I'm anal about what I make.
That's good though.
Yeah.
It's good.
Yeah.
I think it is.
Yeah.
So a lot of what we throw away, other guys put in their product. I just refuse to do it.
Okay.
You know, it's one of those with any of my products sitting up front. If you get a burn from the product, it wasn't mine, because that's not what we want out of this.
Yeah.
Okay. So what is your bourbon mash bill?
95 and 5. 90% corn, 5% rye, 5% malted barley.
Okay. So 95.5. Okay.
Yep, and then our whiskey is 80-10-10.
Okay.
Okay, I'm real partial to a sweet bourbon.
Okay. Yeah. Well, that's good. That high corn then.
Yeah, that's
the
why we
high
use the
corn, low
corn.
rye. Yeah.
We also use no sugar in anything that we do as far as the whiskeys
Right,
are
yeah,
concerned.
yeah.
It's all grain.
Right.
That's awesome.
And we ferment on grain.
So now, do you barrel and warehouse here on the property?
Absolutely.
You do?
Yeah,
Okay.
sitting behind the building are several 40-foot high cube shipping containers,
Okay.
and that's where we store the barrels.
Okay.
My follow-up question to that is, how many barrels do you have on any given day that are back there?
We have about 135 barrels.
Oh, that's good.
Now, are they all the 53 gallon?
All 53.
53?
Yeah, I don't do small barrels.
Okay, good. I don't particularly like the small barrel aging. I think the product just doesn't come out as well.
Right.
Yeah, it's a weird science for that, let alone the science you're already doing
Right.
ahead of time for all this to get in the barrel.
Right.
So
Yeah,
that's
so
a good factor.
it's one that we're very traditional in what we do, and we use some high-tech stuff to get there,
Yeah.
but we're very traditional in what's supposed to be the end product.
Yeah.
So my bourbon is a very straightforward bourbon. Limestone water, number 2 dead heirloom corn, 53-gallon char 4 American oak barrel, toasted ends, 6.5 years in the barrel sitting outside in northern Ohio.
Yeah.
So yesterday it was really warm. Today it's
snowing.
really cold.
It's snowing outside.
Snowing
Yeah.
out, yeah.
March 1st, it's already snowing.
A lot of movement in the barrel.
So, where do you get your barrels from? Do you source them from like ISC or?
No, we started out getting the barrels from Speyside Cooperage down in Dayton, Ohio.
Okay.
Unfortunately, their production is out for years. So we ended up going to, and this is, sometimes you got to get in better. So we go to a company in Canada, okay, who sources the barrels out of, sends the wood down to Kentucky, who makes the barrels, and we ship the barrels from Kentucky to us.
Okay.
Okay.
Extra
Now,
steps.
well, I got 40 years in import-export.
Yeah.
So where a lot of guys don't understand the process or have the bonds and all that wonderful stuff. Well, we've been doing it for 40 years. So for me to source from one, ship to the other, bring it in here, not much of a problem.
Okay.
Yeah. Those relationships, they turn into be a good factor.
Absolutely. Right. And you got to have barrels to make bourbon. I mean,
Exactly.
it's really hard to make bourbon without a barrel.
You can't make bourbon without a barrel. It's got to hit the barrel.
A new char one too. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
All right.
awesome.
Well, so you got your stills and your mash tank, and are these
My fermenters,
fermentation?
yep.
Your fermentation tank.
Yep.
So how many gallons do you have in your
632
fermentation?
each.
Oh, sorry, what was that?
632 gallons each.
632 fermenters. Okay. So, what's your how many times do you go through that a week? If you're running, if you're
Well, we fill up and then run them for 10 days to ferment out,
10 days ferment,
and then
Okay.
run it out. Yeah.
Okay.
Nice.
All right.
So in our small batches, where we're looking for like the rum, okay, we do the rum in the 55 gallon.
Yeah.
Because of the type of rum that we do, I have much more control in a smaller barrel than we do in something large.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I was going to say, speaking about the rum, I know we were briefly talking about it before we started filming. I'm not sure if it caught on camera or not, but you were saying you're one of 6 that do Jamaican rums.
Jamaican rum.
That's actually, define everything, please. I love
Okay.
to know more
So,
about that too.
our rum is the third run molasses. It's blackstrap molasses.
Okay.
Sugar cane. We import the yeast from the Caribbean.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. We ferment it through there. It normally takes a higher temperature, so we bring it in here to keep it warm. The best time for us to do this is June, July, and August. We put it
Summertime.
outside, let the west sun beat on it, get the temperature in there up to 92, 95 degrees. That's where the yeast likes it. So it's very different than doing a whiskey barrel where you try to keep it as cool as you can. It's molasses forward, so you get butterscotch caramel up front. It's got this thing in the middle and sweet at the end. Well, the thing in the middle is called the funk of the rum in Jamaica. And by law, it has to be there. If you don't have funk in your rum, you have Caribbean rum.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay? And the funk is created by the sugar cane and the yeast at the higher temperature.
Okay.
Interesting.
Yeah,
So-
it's a very, and that's a very simplistic thing
Yeah.
of what we do.
So is it? Do you barrel your rum, or does it go just from when you're done?
No, we don't barrel.
You don't put it in wood barrel. Okay.
No. The problem with this particular rum is if you put it in a barrel and pull the oak in, it changes the complexity of the rum. It
Okay.
becomes something completely different.
Extra funk.
Extra something.
There we go.
Extra something.
All right. So thanks for showing us
Yeah.
the backstage area here.
Yeah.
but,
Thank you.
yeah.
Thank
You want to come and show us out front here?
Absolutely.
Awesome.
All right. So now we're like in your kind of seating bar area.
My lounge area, yeah.
Yeah. The first time I came here with my wife, you guys were talking about building this, but it wasn't done yet.
Correct.
So we were like real interested, like, well, we want to come back and see what it's like, when it's done. So why don't you tell us kind of like what you serve and what you offer here in
Okay.
your lounge area?
Well, we do a couple of things. We're open Friday and Saturday from 3 to 8. We do a whole array of cocktails. Of course, all of our cocktails are done with our spirits.
Sure,
I
of
mean,
course.
You
Of
can
course.
imagine
I
that.
feel like
Yeah.
that makes sense for your business model.
Okay. So we have a list of seasonal cocktails we go through, but we can also mix up anything else. My daughter is my Saturday bartender. She is a certified mixologist.
Okay.
Okay.
So she whips some things up that are pretty cool. So we do the cocktails here. We also have the beers on tap back here and canned beers. One of the things that's important is all of our grains are local. Our bottles are local. Our labels are local. We are certified Ohio proud, so 85% of everything we consume is from the state of Ohio.
Oh, very good.
Okay.
Yeah.
We got Masthead, which is Cleveland.
Yep.
We got Tricky Tortoise, which is right down here in Willoughby. And then the other one is our bourbon barrel beer.
Oh, I might want to try that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we're gonna have to give that a go.
Yeah.
The beers we keep in here are all Ohio brewers.
Okay.
So we try to keep everything as local as possible.
That's great.
Yeah.
We, our espresso, the roaster for that is a little guy, Beanie Hat Coffee, a little guy out here in Menor, a small roaster, does all of our bean roasting. So we try to get, small companies involved in what we're doing because I know how hard it was for us to break into things.
Yeah, helping out the community. I like
Exactly.
that.
That's
I
what
like
that's what it's all about.
that. Yeah.
So we do the cocktails here. We have a kitchen. We do, flatbread pizzas, chicken sandwiches, meatball, pretzels, pretzel bites, that kind of thing.
So you can come here on Friday or Saturday, hang out, have a few drinks, get
Absolutely.
some food, and And I know sometimes you have like live music and things like that.
Yes,
so-
we do. About twice a month we bring in the music. The music that we bring in is more for background music, where you can still have a conversation. I'm sure you guys have been places where
where it's
too loud.
it's
Yeah,
cranked up so high you can't talk.
Yeah.
What we try to do with this, it's a very homey feel. You know, you come in, you could chill, listen to music, have a couple of drinks, and just enjoy yourself.
Have a good Friday evening.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Friday, Saturday, absolutely.
Now, where could people go and see kind of like when you're going to have somebody in if they want to come and listen to music and sit around and have a few
Either
drinks?
our website, www.lakeeriedistillery.com, or our Facebook page, Lake Erie Distillery.
Okay.
Super easy to find.
Yeah,
It is
you
very
can
easy
smell
to
it,
find.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah, but like I said, first time we came, this wasn't done, and now it's actually really nice. You guys did a good job in here. It's very, very homey feeling, kind of
Yeah.
cozy. I see your
Right.
lighting's not too bright and stuff like that. So
First time here for me, and it's super clean.
Yeah, very
friendly
nice
approaching.
Yeah.
I like the aesthetics. I know we were talking briefly about some of the decor and how they're former pieces that are used to make stuff during the Prohibition era.
Yeah,
so it's
absolutely.
really cool to have those like historical pieces too to kind of.
And it's things that our customers bring to us. I mean,
Yeah.
it's our customers are great. I mean, I've got phenomenal customers.
Yeah,
Good.
yeah. I noticed on the side there's some awesome wooden bottles. So whoever that person was, please reach out to me. I want something done. Those are really cool.
Yeah, it's a pretty neat thing. That's a pretty neat thing.
Yeah, it's
yeah,
an
those
awesome
are
gift.
nice. Those are pretty
Good
cool.
patrons. Yeah, good patrons.
All right, so why don't we go try some whiskey?
You know what? I think that's a great idea.
So we were here with Fred, and we have his lineup of the spirits he has available, and we're going to kind of go through these, and he's going to tell us about them, and we're going to give them a try.
Can't wait to try
That's,
this version.
that's
All
the
right.
best part of this whole
Yeah.
thing.
Well, I'll tell you what. We'll start with our vodka.
Okay.
We make
Okay.
our vodka from whey, a byproduct of the cheese process. When you make vodka from whey, a couple of things happen. The bite that vodka normally has drops down dramatically. Viscosity goes up a little bit, so it has a little silkier mouthfeel to it. Sustainable, water positive, and carbon negative, so it is environmentally friendly. The other thing about it, sometimes when you do vodka, you get that hit right in the back of your throat. Not at all, because we don't use grain.
Oh.
So I have a question about that. You said you make it out, you weigh,
Whey.
you ferment then.
Mhm.
Do you still use a barley to do the transition from like the carbohydrates, whatever, to sugars? And
No, the sugars are already there. It's the milk sugars.
okay.
Okay. The only thing that we need to do is we have to get the fat molecules out of it because we don't want to ferment with fat in it because that'd go rancid pretty quick.
Okay, so did you have to like scoop it? I mean, that's interesting.
Yeah.
You're using whey to ferment. I don't think I've ever heard of that. So.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
interesting.
it's there's only a couple of people do it. I know one in Wisconsin and one in Ontario that use whey as a vodka product. It's
That's interesting.
it's a pain in the backside,
Okay.
but it makes a really really nice vodka, which you guys will see.
So what do you bottle this at? What?
80 proof.
80 proof. Okay.
80 proof.
All right. Let's
Okay.
give it a try.
Okay, so then we'll go with our bourbon.
Okay.
Okay, and our bourbon is a very traditional bourbon. Limestone water, number 2 down heirloom corn. We run this through the still. We put it into a char 4 American oak barrel. Toasted ends 53 gallon. Sits out back a minimum of 6.5 years. We single barrel bottle at 90 proof.
Oh, okay.
Oh, wow,
So these
okay.
are single barrels. Okay.
Yeah.
Single barrels, you said 6.5?
6.5 years.
Oh, wow.
Got
6.5
some age
years
to it.
single barrel, 90
Yeah.
proof. Okay.
Yeah.
Got some good age.
Yep.
Yep. And every bottle has the barrel number on it.
Okay.
Okay. So bourbon has
That's kind of like Evan Williams. Their single barrels are all like the lower proof single barrels. When they do that. Evan
yeah,
Williams
it's one of those that I like the nuances between the barrels. You know, and I find if you blend, you end up with this. And I don't want to say anything bad about anybody else, but you end up with something mediocre. Because sometimes you have barrels that are much, much better than others, where the nuances are a little different. I just happen to like the nuances of the barrels.
That's one of the things that attracted me to bourbon was just the single barrel aspect of stuff where, yeah, you can go to your big legacy distillers and
Right.
you can get a very McDonald's type whiskey. But then also if you have the single barrels, there's definitely be highs and lows and it just
Yeah.
makes it more
Absolutely.
interesting and conversational.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So bourbon has to be in a brand new barrel. So after we
Right.
take the bourbon out of the barrel, we have a very expensive used barrel.
Yeah, right.
Yes.
Yeah, the price of those has gone up dramatically in the last couple of years. So what we do is we take that used barrel, we change the mash bill slightly, we put a little more rye in it, barley. We refill the used barrel, we put it out back for another 2.5 years.
Okay.
We end up with American whiskey.
Okay. Okay.
The taste profile of this is like a Jack Daniels without the bite.
Okay. So what do you proof this one at?
This is 80.
80.
80.
So what's your barrel entry proof for the whiskey?
118.
118.
Yeah,
Okay.
118. It's the same with the bourbon. We go in at 118, 119
Okay.
in that area.
Okay.
Okay, so we take our 2.5 year. We add a little maple to it from Geauga County. You get maple whiskey.
Yeah.
We actually have that at home. We have a bottle of your maple whiskey. My wife likes maple whiskey, so.
Yeah, one of the things that's important is everything we do here is all natural. There's nothing artificial in anything that we make.
Okay.
I also like the fact that you're just constantly reusing stuff, so it's not like very wasteful. You're definitely able to reuse a few of the products you have.
Speaking of that, when we run the still, the cooling water for the bourbon mash is what we use to make the rum.
Oh, okay.
And I
Definitely
also think I read on your website that you take your spent grain and you give it to to the farms or something like that.
Yeah, we give it to down in Chardon, Platinum Farms, and he feeds it to his hogs down there.
There you go. So
Okay.
even your spent grain,
That's
reused.
That's the pig I want for bacon.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Whiskey bacon.
Yeah, whiskey bacon. Yeah.
I give him the grain for free, and he gives me a discount on hogs when we buy a hog.
There
There
you
you
go.
go.
Yeah.
That's it.
It's a fair trade.
Okay, so the other one we have, we take our whiskey, we infuse it with cinnamon,
Okay.
and we get a cinnamon whiskey. Now, this is not like a Fireball or a Jack Fire. This is very drinkable, as you'll see.
Okay.
Okay. Next thing we do, we take our vodka, infuse it with dark roast Brazilian beans, non-GMO, fair trade. The roaster we use is Beanie Hat Coffee here in Mentor, Ohio. Very, very small roaster. It's probably one of the best espresso vodkas I think I've ever seen.
Might have to get that from my sister-in-law.
I'm not a coffee guy. So.
No, but she's really into espresso martinis, so that
Makes
could be
a
nice little
great
cocktail for
espresso
her.
martini.
Yeah.
Okay, and then we'll go with our gin. That's a botanical gin. So we start out with juniper, orris root, angelica root, grains of paradise, lemon peel, and orange peel.
Okay.
Is our mix. And what we do with this one is we pull the juniper back and we push the citrus forward.
Gotcha.
I don't like a gin where I feel like I'm chewing on a pine tree.
It's a great breath mint.
Hey.
No, that's awesome. I'm looking forward to trying that.
And then next we have our Jamaican rum. As I said, we're one of 6 distillers in the country making Jamaican rum. It's a third run of molasses blackstrap molasses and sugar cane. The yeast we import from the Caribbean. We ferment it at a high temperature for 2 weeks. And it's going to be molasses forward. So you get a caramel butterscotch up front. There's a something in the middle and sweet at the end. The something in the middle is the funk of the rum in Jamaica.
Okay.
To be Jamaican rum, it's got to be there. You take out the funk, you have Caribbean rum.
All right.
And there's a whole story. We do a thing at Lake Erie College where we go through the rum from 1655 through today. So it's very intriguing, but you guys do not have time for me to give you the history lesson on that. We'll bore everybody out. They'll fall asleep. Okay. And then we go with our dill pickle. That is our vodka infused with dill pickle. Again, all natural, nothing artificial.
Now, is it infused with juice, or do you actually are you putting actual pickles in?
Actually, what we do is we do an extraction process and we pull the oils out of the pickle. And then we use that as the flavoring.
Oh, wow. Okay.
That way every bottle is exactly the same as the last bottle. You buy a bottle today, you buy a bottle a year from now, there's no difference.
Now, are you extracting that oil yourself?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
We do everything here. And then the last one we have is our Champion's Choice.
Woo woo.
Okay.
Right. Now, our Champion's Choice is our barrel strength. This is the third barrel of all the barrels we've opened that to me justified what should be a barrel strength.
Oh, wow.
And what I look at is when we pull the bong out and we do the whiskey thief, it's got to speak to me. And what I'm looking for is I'm looking for that mellow oak all the way through. I'm looking for the vanillin to come in up front. And I'm looking for a very long dark fruit finish. And it's got to drink at a proof lower than what it really is.
So do you test every single barrel you open?
Every one.
And you decide then we're gonna proof it down to 90, or we're gonna make it our barrel strength.
Correct.
Okay.
Correct.
Now, follow-up question to that too. Obviously, very hands-on and everything. You say you select the cream of the crop. So this is your third best one that you've had in pretty much your entire production.
Yeah.
And is that also that 6.5 year time frame, or is it a little bit older?
It's 6.5.
Okay.
6.5
in fact,
years?
it was sitting right beside the barrel that made this.
Oh wow.
Now,
Just one off.
I say made this, and then I've also got to say this is a silver medal winner out in California at Bartender Spirits.
Well,
Award.
that makes sense. First and second, they're next to each other. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's not a mundane bourbon, as you guys will see.
Yeah.
But this is my my favorites right here.
I'm glad to hear that your whiskey or your bourbon at least is 6.5 years old, because I hate when you may stop somewhere and they got like a 2-year-old product. I've actually went I went one place I went and it was 6 months in the barrel.
Oh, that's raw.
Yeah. So it's good to see you got some age on your bourbon.
Yeah, found.
Now, 6.5, is that your oldest barrels, or do you have older barrels that
I have barrels that are a couple of older. So what we did is the very first barrel we made, I put my granddaughter's name on it.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
Okay, and it is sitting out there, and when she turns 21, she's going to get this barrel. It'll be at that point 20 years old.
Ooh.
Okay, so I don't know if it's going to be her college tuition or if she's just going to have a really great party.
Yeah, let me be invited to that party.
Yeah.
I like celebrating 21st birthdays all the time, but I want to be invited to that. Looks like there'll be some extra left over.
There you go. But we try to get them to age longer. But when we first got started, we had no idea how many barrels we were going to sell. So it's strictly a guess. Yeah. Well, sales have ratcheted up really, really well. So it's hard to get barrels to age past that because we keep pulling them out and putting them in bottles.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean,
well, it's a good problem to have.
A good problem to have, but at the same time, it's one of those that at some point I'm going to run out of really aged bourbon, and I'm not going to sell my young stuff because it's not the quality I want it to be.
Yeah.
People have gotten used to drinking this. You take this and compare it to a 4-year.
There's a difference.
It's completely different.
Sure.
It's completely different.
Yeah, you can.
So this is going to be our bourbon. Not our bourbon. This is going to be our vodka.
Man, this is some clear bourbon.
Yeah. Let's call it vodka instead.
All right.
So this is the vodka made from whey.
Yes.
Yeah. Honestly, like first initial smell, it doesn't have that like ethanol punch that you're kind of referring to.
Right. And what you're going to find is it's a little bit floral on the back of the tongue.
I don't really get much on the nose. I mean, but then again, vodka you shouldn't, right? It's a neutral spirit. So yeah.
Well, cheers.
All right.
Cheers. Thank you. Appreciate it. Yeah, it's like odorless and tastes pretty odorless too.
Mm-hmm.
I can see why it's a pain in the butt. It's a very meticulous process to get to this stage.
Yeah, there's like really no ethanol on it.
Yeah.
It's just there's a little bit of sweetness I get kind of in the middle of the palate.
Right.
And I don't get many sweetnesses on vodkas that I've tried. So that's
But it's very
neutral.
Yeah, it's very neutral. It's a little touch of sweetness.
I'm getting a little bit of like that floral on the very back. Almost like kind of like a clove too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's one of those that, if people ask how you can get that in a vodka, well, quite honestly, it's what the cows are eating. So because we use the whey and it transfers over, you can get a lot of it out, but you can't get all of it out. And to me, to make a vodka that is absolutely odorless and absolutely tasteless, why?
For cocktails.
You're
a cocktail, right? You don't want to have a lot of ethanol burn in a cocktail or something.
Right. And this one doesn't have it. So what we find with the bars around here is they're doing things like lavender and thyme or a muddled berry, and that becomes the entire drink.
It's an infusion at that point.
Yeah, you don't have to try to hide the burn of the vodka.
Right, right.
That was really tasty.
Yep. Okay.
All right.
Oh, new glasses.
And this is going to be our bourbon. This one does have the right color now.
Yeah.
So this is the 90 proof. 6-year single barrel, correct?
Yep.
6.5 years.
6.5 year single barrel.
That extra six months mattered.
Okay.
Oh yeah, get a lot of vanilla.
Yeah, that's
that butterscotch. Yeah, just as you described it. Thanks for giving me the cheating taste notes.
I'm getting a little bit of like a red fruit kind of, almost maybe like I don't know if quite an apple, but like some kind of red fruit to go with the vanilla.
Like I said, I like a sweet bourbon. This is a sipping bourbon.
Yeah. That's very good. And very sweet, not much ethanol burn. Don't get like that Kentucky hug.
Yeah, it doesn't really have the
that's
hug.
definitely
because it's 90 proof.
Yeah, that's definitely a sipper.
I get the vanilla up front, very vanilla forward, and I get a little bit out of oak on the finish. Go with oak and char.
I get a little char at the end. I was about to say almost like a I get, to me, with my taste buds, a little bit of like a graham cracker, like a little charred, not cinnamon, but like I get something that's like reminiscent of like a baking spice. Like a baking spice, yeah.
I get more just like vanilla and oak and char, and it's very
Yeah, it's just
Same,
a,
like kind of all the way through. It's just very smooth all the way through.
it's a sipping bourbon.
Yeah.
Okay. So we're going to go from this, and we're going to.
We can reuse these if you want, or we do.
Yeah, well, I'll tell you what. We can't the bourbon ones because we're
Yeah,
going to go with.
the champion one.
We're going to go with 118 proof.
There you go. A little bit of a jump. Also, this is the. We're doing this in the AM, so these are the first pours I've had today.
Yeah.
Okay.
Which is I probably should say.
Well,
I love it. You can definitely smell.
okay,
a
this
little
one's
more,
dark. This one's darker. So
Yeah.
this has got like a darker notes to it.
A little
Yeah,
more oak.
Yep, and you should get dark fruit on the end of the finish.
Like you
I
get, definitely get more oak. I still get that vanilla on it, but I think I get a little more like
I get more oak in the smell to me.
there's more oak.
Yeah.
You get that vanilla, but there's also a little bit almost like of a like that burnt brown sugar kind of.
Mhm. Yeah. Get a little more toffee too. Some of that like butterscotch toffee, almost not so much like the chocolate of like a Heath bar, but I get the other parts of the
I
Heath
get a
bar.
lot more baking spice
Yeah.
on the finish of that one.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like this a lot.
Yeah, I like this one.
I understand why it's one of your
And
champions.
it's got a nice finish. It's got a nice
Yeah.
mouthfeel.
Great mouth.
Still going. The finish is still going, so it's got the finish on it.
Yeah,
From the proof, obviously, but
Yeah.
but it doesn't have the ethanol burn, so it's not an issue of.
You know, and that's the thing I find that is the most disappointing to me is you get some of these higher end proof bottles and you drink it and you feel like your esophagus is getting ripped out of your chest. You know,
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
why
It
do I
doesn't
want to
have
drink
that.
something like that?
Yeah.
Yeah, you got it. You like it when you have a good ethanol that doesn't drink too hot. Like sometimes you
Right.
get something that drinks too hot and it overpowers and you lose the flavors.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Whereas you want something that has enough ethanol to bring that finish to make your mouth tingle, and it likes to sit there, right? You get that better finish. You take a sip, and you can sit there 3 or 4 minutes just kind of savoring it before you take the next
And,
one.
and the
Exactly.
same thing too. I know this bottle's, as you can tell, pretty good because it's nearly gone. But also
Yeah.
something that's a fresh crack that bottles out, it opens up, it aerates a little bit, kind of like wine when it's been open for a while.
Mhm.
So don't know how long this bottle's been open, but you can definitely tell it's at a great spot of just peak drinking.
Yeah, it's had a little bit of oxidation.
Yeah.
That always helps for the
Yep,
fresh crack.
absolutely.
But the
Exactly.
whiskey,
Yeah, next we're going to whiskey.
So
A
it's just-
completely different taste profile.
it's like you said, it's higher rye. Do you
Right.
know what percent rye you put in the whiskey?
Yeah, 10%.
10% rye, but it's aged in the used bourbon barrels.
Correct.
Being resourceful.
Yeah.
Great business model right there. Yep.
All right.
There you go.
I think is it camera good right here? Is this better? Okay, cool. Closer to the water.
Okay.
I want to make sure it's in the shot. For some reason, this one, I mean, I know it's a little bit different mash bill as well as already being in a used barrel, but this one looks, I think, the darkest to me.
Yeah, this one I'm getting more spice on the nose.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
I don't get the vanilla that I was getting off the bourbons. I'm
Hmm.
getting more of a spice on the nose, like maybe a little bit more of a pepper.
See, I get more of those spices more in the mid palate. The very front, I get kind of like a, I don't know if it's just me tasting, but like it comes over like more chilled, more mellow, and then it hits with a little bit of spice in the mid palate, getting towards the end with like an oak,
Yeah,
little vanilla finish. at the
This
end.
one has a little more bite. This one definitely has more bite to it than the bourbons did.
Yep.
I like this one a lot.
I think part of it is maybe because of the age. It's you said
Right.
it
It's
was
only
2
2.5
yeah,
years
so
in a used barrel. So,
It's got a little bit more bite, but also a little bit more rye.
Yeah.
And I do get the spices in the middle, and that bite kind of comes right on the end.
yeah, because what we wanted to do is, bourbon drinkers drink bourbon and whiskey drinkers drink whiskey. And the whiskey drinkers we had coming in didn't really prefer the bourbon because they were looking for certain taste profiles of whiskey, which is how this came about. And they literally are two very different taste profiles.
Now, have you tried this or let any of this age, like a higher age, and see how it comes
Never
out?
have a
Or at barrel
chance.
strength?
Never have a chance.
Yeah.
'Cause
That's
I-
called good consumers.
When we brought it out, we posted on Facebook looking for names
Okay.
because we didn't know what to call it.
Yeah.
Right.
Junior.
And it's an American whiskey, so we ended up with a lot of patriotic things, which turned into political things.
Oh, you don't want that. Yeah, you gotta try to avoid that.
Which we did not want to put that on our bottle.
Yeah. You can get political by saying America, but that's where the line's drawn.
That's it. So my wife and I were going through all these names, and they really didn't seem appropriate. And then it was one night, they run across a picture of my dad, and he was in the Army. Mm-hmm. And when he's passed now, but whiskey was his thing, and I brought that up. Well, as it turned out, my dad was in the Korean Army, or the Korean War, not the Korean Army. No, he wasn't in the Korean Army. He was in the Korean War. My wife's dad was in World War II in the Korean War. Well, they were both named Juniors.
Okay.
And they both drank whiskey.
There you go. That's a good
and that's how we came up with the name.
Yeah.
Okay. Very good.
Yeah. No, I like that. It's very fitting.
Okay.
So the main other whiskey sipper, I'm like an honorary one. He actually just got deployed. So
yeah, so he's not you originally communicated with Devin. He's my partner. He's gone now. He got deployed a couple of weeks ago.
Okay.
Yeah, so, but we have a little thing for him.
Oh, okay.
So we'll probably.
So this is our 2.5-year whiskey infused with maple.
Okay. And the maple is Ohio.
Absolutely. Geauga County.
Okay.
Yep. Oh
yeah. Yeah, the maple's on the nose. That's definitely actually maple.
Yeah.
So I've had some, sometimes they sell maple whiskey where it's really just aged with maple wood and it doesn't have any maple flavor.
Yeah.
Right.
I found that in some bottles.
Yep.
But we actually look for maple whiskey that has that maple taste.
With syrup. I actually had
maybe the syrup.
Chicken and waffles this morning for breakfast. So,
this will go great with it.
This would have been perfect if I just drizzle this on instead of the maple syrup.
We call it a breakfast whiskey.
Yeah, exactly. Breakfast shots. If you're on a ski slope, got a little bit of snow, drizzle it in.
Yep.
Sling it back.
And the cool thing about using natural ingredients,
tastes like maple.
Yeah.
So
you don't get that artificial in the back of the tongue when it's done. That aftertaste.
Give me the real thing. This is it.
Yeah.
This
So if you like maple, this is an actual maple flavored whiskey.
Yeah. This is delicious.
Okay. Next we're going to go with is our cinnamon.
Now, do you using like cinnamon sticks, cinnamon oil?
Absolutely.
Yours is right there. Well, my question for you. So obviously it's reusing the barrels. There's obviously maple and now the cinnamon, and also the junior. Is there a preference on what is kind of gone through production more of like more favored towards the junior? Is it more favored towards the cinnamon? Is it more favored towards maple? What does that kind of look like?
It's seasonal.
Seasonal? Oh, okay.
It's seasonal.
There you go. There you go. I'm sure it's a pretty good rotation if it's every other three or 4 months.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So the cinnamon's pretty light on this.
Yeah.
Like
it's not
like a
red.
fireball. Like a fireball is like big. Like
no, this is drinkable.
Yeah, great way to phrase
it. It's a very light cinnamon.
Yeah, very light. Not even like a red tamales. Like it's I like the smell way better.
So the flavor profile we went after this one.
Very light cinnamon. Yeah, it's kind of sweet.
Those little cinnamon candies you used to decorate cakes with and cookies. That was the target for this.
Okay.
Yeah, I think you nailed it.
Yeah, it's a very sweet but light cinnamon. It's not overpowering.
Yeah.
It's not fiery. It's not a fiery cinnamon at all. It's very sweet cinnamon.
Yeah. Give it a little bit of that lip smacking. Like it's like almost like candied. Like it gives you some of that candied taste. I like that.
Yeah, mix that with some apple cider and it's killer.
That's good. Yeah.
That's something you guys love doing. You love the ciders.
Yeah, we do. We do.
Yeah, a little apple cider, a little cinnamon and sugar with it. You got an apple pie cocktail.
Exactly.
Yep, this is the espresso dark roast Brazilian beans.
Oh, smells like coffee beans. I mean, it smells like coffee grounds.
It smells like I just walked into like a Starbucks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep, definitely smells like it.
As someone who doesn't drink coffee,
I don't care for coffee, but it tastes like coffee. If you like coffee, you'd like this.
Yeah, but for someone who doesn't like coffee, I don't drink the stuff, but I could probably drink that.
I don't particularly like the taste of coffee, but what I will say is
it's not.
There's no ethanol.
Yeah,
there's no. It tastes like drinking coffee without any creamery.
Yeah, exactly.
And that is 80 proof.
Yeah.
You could, if you drink coffee, you could drink like a glass of this like you were drinking coffee and never know you're drinking alcohol.
Yeah.
Yeah, but then you shouldn't drive.
Yeah. Well, usually at that point,
So-
you're starting your morning.
If you're going to work and you want a little nip and you don't want anybody to know this smells and tastes like coffee, just put that in your cup.
Yep. Put it in your hot chocolate.
Yeah, exactly.
So,
Yeah, it's not that super overpowering from the juniper. You're right. It's definitely that citrus forward.
yeah, it is very citrusy on the nose.
I like that. Almost
Almost like an orange.
I would say like an orange lemon combo, almost like a citron. That smells real good.
Yeah, it's a little bit flowery with some citrus in it. I mean, it's flowery and citrus.
I don't get much floral. Oh, now I do. Okay, yeah, now I do. But it's very plain.
I got the flower up
and then
front and the citrus.
See,
in
for
the middle
me,
and back.
a little bit reverse. A very plain, mellow, and then boom, citrus, and then boom, floral. It's very delayed. I like that.
Yeah, so if you like that kind of citrus herbal note, I mean, that would be a nice gin. I don't drink gin.
Yeah,
Right.
I drink gin. I drink a lot.
Yeah, I know you like gin. But I'm not.
Okay, now this is going to be the Jamaican rum, and there's a secret to this.
And you said this is not aged in barrels?
It is not.
No.
Okay, stainless steel. Okay, so what you want to do with this is you want to take a small sip first.
Mhm.
And the reason you want to do that is your brain already has a perception
Yeah, we're
of what rum is going to taste like. That's not it.
Okay.
Okay. The second sip is where you get the true character of the Jamaican rum.
Okay.
So how does it get its color if it's not in a barrel?
Molasses.
It's all molasses.
So, you put the molasses in it after it's distilled?
Yeah.
Oh,
So
okay.
like, and you said it's like instantly, because there's no aging. It's just
There's no
purely-
aging.
It
yeah,
does not
just-
smell like a rum.
No, but I was gonna say
Like a normal rum.
It
doesn't
goes
smell like a
it
normal
goes
rum.
color that quickly.
Mhm.
That's interesting.
Yeah, you just have got sweeter. Like each sip I take was a little bit sweeter than the
Mhm.
first. The first one was more overpowered by that funk. It was kind of the overpowering, and then that kind of went away as I drank the next sip. So
As I took the first sip, it made me think of a beach. The second sip made me wish I wasn't in Ohio with the snow, and
Yeah.
I was actually on the beach.
There
Awesome.
you go.
Thank you.
And
Thank you.
this
is great for Bloody Marys.
is our dill pickle.
dill pickle.
Okay, the best way to describe this:
Ooh,
pickle juice out of a jar,
Yeah.
minus the vinegar at 80 proof.
So
It is
that's
pickles
exactly
on
what
steroids.
So it's your vodka. So it's your vodka. And
Yep.
that's exactly what you just smell, or you
Oh,
described my smell.
That smells like a kosher dill.
Yeah,
It smells like a kosher dill pickle.
a sweet kosher.
I get like that. Like kosher has that kind of, I don't even know what to call, like a saltiness to it.
Like a brine.
Yeah, I
Like a
get that
brine.
brine on it
Yeah.
for sure.
Yeah, put that in a Bloody Mary, and it's the secret sauce.
I would have to agree, just based off smell. That's what you want.
Tastes like that brine. Tastes like a kosher dill. I mean,
Like
it
a,
tastes,
like a pickleback.
Yeah, you
minus,
can-
minus the back, just the pickle.
Yeah, the other
but it's not a real sour. It's not sour. It's not
Yeah.
like a sour pickle. It's more that briny, kosher, salty
Yeah.
dill.
Mhm.
Yeah, that's good too.
Yeah, thing we do with it, I mix it with ketchup, put my fries in it.
Really?
Yeah. Well,
That's
people
one-
come in,
that's
they
one
say,
way
"What
to
else can you do with it other than Bloody Mary?" Well, we do a pickle martini with it. We do pickle lemonade, which really popular in the summer.
So let's go through your pricing for these. Like for this first one,
Okay.
your dill pickle
Yeah.
vodka. What's your price on a bottle of that?
The plain vodka, or you could, plain
This is-
vodka. Do
this-
you want to do the dill first?
Yeah, let's
What
start
did-
with them. We'll just work our way up. Here.
Okay, so
Yeah,
that's $23.35.
So
Okay.
23.35. These are all 750, correct?
Right, all $7.50.
Yeah.
Okay. Next, the Jamaican rum,
$22.87.
22.87. The botanical gin,
$23.35.
Okay.
35. The espresso vodka,
$23.83.
all very reasonably priced.
Yeah.
And your cinnamon whiskey,
$28.22.
okay. The maple whiskey,
$28.61.
The junior.
$28.22.
okay. And your
Regular.
single barrel, your 90
Yep.
proof single barrel,
That's going to be $39.12.
And the one I really want to know, your champion's choice.
Whoa! You're skipping the regular vodka.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, whoa.
Okay.
But the regular vodka, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
1991.
1991.
1991. Okay.
And then the best for last, because this was my favorite.
Same. That was one of my favorites as well.
6778, and this is only available at the distillery.
Okay, so this is not distributed even in Ohio.
No, only here. Because we only had 200 bottles. There's 499 OHLQ stores.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now the rest of your selection, are they in Ohio, across all of Ohio?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
That's awesome.
Now, are you in any other states, or are you Ohio only?
You know, I'm just in Ohio. We you know, I don't want to be Jack Daniels, Jim Beam. I don't want to be everywhere. You know, I started this as a hobby. Ohio is great for me. I want to own Ohio.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, as you should.
But that's all I'm really looking for. You know, it's a good product. I want to keep it here. We use Ohio suppliers and Ohio vendors, and it's just kind of, you know, keep it local.
All right.
I like that. Well, the backup and follow-up question to that is, I know being so close to like PA and obviously a couple-hour drive to Michigan, is there any potential advancement that you might want to do in the future as you get some older product and some more stuff in your inventory?
I don't know. You know, it's one of those that the concern is twofold. One, if you get too many products, you lose quality control. If you get in too many places, suddenly your production goes up and you lose that hands-on craft.
Yeah.
And to me, those are the two most important things.
And I know you guys are on the Ohio Distillers Trail.
Yes.
And we actually, that's how we first found you. We were doing the Northeast Ohio Distillers Trail a couple of years ago when they had the ball. And so that's how we first came by here and found you guys. We were doing the trail. So, you know, if anybody out there, Ohio does have their own distillers trail.
Yes, they do.
Yep.
You can look it up on online. You can Google it. I know they have a website.
OhioDistillersGuild.com.
There you go. And they'll list the distilleries. And I know they have like the mobile app where you can check in.
Yes,
and
they
all
do.
that kind of stuff. So,
And there's prizes for checking in.
Yeah. So
I need to download that.
yeah, we actually have it. We actually have it. So we're going to do it while we're here today. But yeah, so you can check that out, and you can check out different distilleries in Ohio. And I'm hoping we're going to set up with some more. We've done Western Reserve before, and we've done you guys now. So we're looking to do some more Ohio stuff to try to get content out there, because we do have quite a good sized Ohio audience, actually.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So, well, thank you so much today for your time.
My pleasure.
Having us in and letting us sample your goods and showing us around. We really appreciate it.
My pleasure. My pleasure.
Love the behind the scenes. Thank you. Greatly appreciate it.
My pleasure. Thank you.
Yeah.
And to everybody watching, we have little Devin here.
Little
with us.
Devin's here. We didn't forget about you, Devin. Thank you for everything that you do and your service. It gives me the opportunity to one, hopefully fill in your shoes as an honorary whiskey sipper. But yeah, thank you.
All right. So thank you again, Fred, for your time. We really appreciate it.
My pleasure. My pleasure. Thank you guys for stopping in.
Thank you, Fred. Appreciate it.
All right. And we wish you nothing but luck in the future.
Yeah.
I appreciate that.
Yeah.
All right. So that was Lake Erie Distillery here in Willoughby, Ohio. It was a pretty nice experience.
Excellent experience. Thank you, Fred, Master Distiller owner, for everything you did for us today. Greatly appreciate it. I know Devin would appreciate it if he was here. I know you originally had some contacts with him, but incredible time.
Yep.
Great experience.
So if you're in Northeast Ohio, come check them out. Look when they're having some music, maybe come in, have some flatbread, have some cocktails, and listen to music and support this local Ohio business.
Yeah.
Come in, give them a shout out or give them a chance, and
Yeah,
you know, check them out, because I know we have some viewers in the Northeast Ohio area.
absolutely.
All right. Okay. So guys, until next time, remember, the best bourbon or whiskey.
This is the one you like the most.
We'll see you.